Hello everyone and welcome to PendulumEdu, and here in this session, as you know, we discuss vocabulary words for you so as to enhance the word power that you possibly can to implement and use them to accomplish your goal, that is cracking the competitive exams. Now, these words that we discussed may also help you in your regular sessions as well. Okay, in your regular daily conversations, as I say, that vocabulary is not crammed, it's inculcated, so try to absorb it. Let's begin with today's article. The article heads as women uninterrupted. Now remember this is not woman, it's a women. The woman is this, a woman, it's singular, women is plural. Okay. Uninterrupted is used here. Women uninterrupted on access to contraception and abortion services. Now this is another point to deal with. It is a major challenge for women in our nation, or maybe the other countries as well. You would come to know the article, what problems do they face and what problems are they facing in this amid this COVID pandemic. Pertaining to the contraception and abortion services, we would just come to know. See, anyways, the health services, not just health services, everything in our nation, across the world, I would say across the globe, has been affected. So if I talk about health services, definitely there has been a drastic hit. Okay, uninterrupted, which means without control or not stopping, without interruption, कोई रोक नहीं है, निरंतर, continuously. So they are going, now they are stating back to back something that has to be given note, that has to be taken into consideration and into notice. That is on access, that is availability to contraception and abortion services. Contraception is a noun which is the procedure or process of deliberately avoiding pregnancy. Now there are ways, okay, so different ways adopted to deliberately avoid pregnancy is what contraception means. इसको हिंदी में आपने सुना होगा, that is गर्भ निरोध. Alright, and abortion services. Now it says access to contraception, abortion services must be continuous. It should not be stopped, because see, if this is stopped, then we are all aware of the entire system of our country would be disrupted when it comes to family planning and the number of increase in the number of people. Okay, that is the population, increase in population, that would be affected. Now, among the most serious ramifications of the pandemic, ramification is a noun, and it's a beautiful word which is used in place of consequence. परिणाम किसी चीज का वो ramification होता है, और ramification usually negative होता है. परिणाम जो थोड़ा सा, it's a bad consequence, it's a harsh consequence. Okay, of the pandemic has been the rather extensive, even if unintended, disruption of healthcare services. भाई ना जानबूझकर नहीं है, अनजाने में ही हुआ है. It is unintended, okay, I'll write it clearly here. अनजाने में, it is unintended, but it is extensive, it is on large scale. Extensive on large scale. Extensive is an adjective, unintended is also an adjective. These are simple words though. Normal life has been crippled by the restrictions. Cripple is also an adjective. I'm wiping off the screen and will write it. So cripple is also an adjective, and cripple means badly damaged or affected. कहते हैं ना, कोई चीज़ जो अशक्त हो गई है, जिसमें अब शक्ति नहीं बची है, तो वो हो गया हमारे complete normal life. It has been completely crippled by the restrictions flowing from control measures, and access to medical services has become infinitely tougher for a vast majority. Definitely there are control measures. Even if a person is is not having the symptoms for COVID, but is a general patient, he has a bit of fever or cold and cough, then also the restrictions from the control measures have made it difficult to access the medical services. These people who want to get an abortion done, the services have been restricted. So the medical services are restricted only to only for a certain facilities of the services. This is having a major impact on the other part, or on the other side. The scale of the impact of women's lives is now being recognized after so long. As global reports of inability to access contraceptives and abortion services during the long lockdown warn of dire consequences. Now, dire is used here as an adjective, which means serious. Okay, अत्यंत ज़रूरी या जो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है वो consequences वगैरह. If this continues, if there is if the people are unable to access to these services, then it would have a dire consequence. बहुत ही खतरनाक, बहुत ही कुछ ऐसा ज़रूरी impact आने वाला है लॉकडाउन की वजह से. Including क्या consequence, including unwanted pregnancies, increase in domestic violence, and maternal mortality. Now, maternal mortality, like we all know, the maternal mortality, while pregnancy is there, the baby dies or the mother dies. A recent estimate by the Mary Stopes International, that is MSI, said about 2 million women missed out on services between January and June. So between January and June, how many people have missed out? 2 million women have missed out these services. Now, it's a huge number. Now, if this continues, then there is a major service or a major section of our society that is missing out on a major service to be imparted to them, and this definitely would have a serious impact on the society and the nation on the whole. 1.3 million were in India alone. So out of 2 million, 1.3 million were in India all alone. According to WHO, a recent survey of responses from 103 countries found that 67% reported disruption. Disruption is noun, that is damage in family planning and contraception services. 67% people have, across 103 countries, 67% have gone through this, have reported this, that they have actually they have faced something that they didn't want to. Okay, unwanted pregnancy, or maybe domestic violence, or maybe maternal mortality. So these things that has got disruption in their family planning. So, and see, anything that comes as unwanted, see, if you want to do something, you want to achieve something in life, and in the process of that, in case instead of achieving that, you have achieved something else, so that is not what you wanted, you won't be happy with that, right? So in this case, there has been damage in terms of the entire cycle, or in terms of the entire procedure or the planning of the people. Now, this would have a huge impact on women's health. Okay, if it's a domestic violence case, then also in terms of stress, mental stress, this would be physical stress. So these things would definitely be there. Okay, and if these are not addressed or not taken into notice as of now, it would have huge impact. Further, the writer says UNFPA projections indicate that 47 million women in 114 low and middle income countries would be unable to use modern contraceptives if the average lockdown continued for 6 months, with major disruptions to services, and an additional 7 million unintended pregnancies are expected to occur. So see, if this lockdown continues for coming 6 months more, then there would be 47 million women in 114 low and middle income countries who would not be able to access this. And if they are not able to access this, there would be 7 million unintended pregnancies, and there will be growth in the population of the nation by 7 million. You getting it? This is a huge number. At the heart of this issue is the bulk. Bulk is noun that means huge. बहुत सारा. Bulk of healthcare services shifting to cater to COVID-19 related emergencies and lockdown disruptions. India listed abortions as essential services under the lockdown. Now, India has finally listed it as an essential service because we know the impact that it could have in case of the population increase, right? Because already there is a lack of food. People are dying out of hunger. Like here in the country, there's no space to stay, there's no space to live. We all are facing it by ourselves, and if 7 million number increases instantly in these 6 months, span of 6 months, it would be a huge impact on the economy as well. So India has listed abortion essential services, but the disruption of transport services hampered, it's a verb, hamper is a verb which means it created disturbance, okay, to access to the centers of care. Like there was no lack of transport service. Some people, they don't have their own vehicle. How would they fly? And lack of awareness about these services being available during this period was a factor. It is pertinent, it's an adjective, it is important and relevant. Hindi में कहते हैं ना उचित. It is pertinent to ask if services to facilitate abortion and contraception were indeed available in the cities and rural areas during the period, despite being listed as emergency and thus allowed to remain open even during intense lockdowns. So we have to ask for this. We have to look for it. We can't just sit and watch. Almost 30% of the respondent is a noun. Respondent here in the context refers to the women. It is a person who provides the information, or who provides the information. जो उसको हम respondent कहते हैं. Okay. Seeking an abortion said that the clinic in the area was closed according to the MSI report. So the person who has given this information said that the clinic in the area was closed. It was not open. Like even if they reached out, they weren't able to get the services done. So this is the point that the author wants to highlight, and it's an important point. Amid the big things happening, this is also something that could have a major impact on society and has to be taken into consideration. Further, a study in 6 states by the Foundation for Reproductive Health Services India showed a severe shortage of medical abortion drugs in pharmacies. There was a shortage. For a country setting out to bolster is a verb which means to strengthen or to support. किसी चीज़ को आप सहारा दे रहे हो, किसी चीज़ को आप बढ़ावा दे रहे हो, सहारा देना. Its contraception and abortion services outreach, this pandemic and its lockdown have dealt a blow. Now, deal a blow is a phrase which means to hit, to cause harm. तो भाई उनको झटका लगा है. तो the country has dealt a blow, मतलब बहुत बड़ा झटका लगा है जिससे कि उन्हें नुकसान पहुंचा है. वो चाहते थे कि वो इस चीज़ का जैसे स्ट्रेंथन करें, इस चीज़ को, इस सर्विसेज को बढ़ाएं. उन्होंने इसको एसेंशियल सर्विसेज का भी नाम दिया, बट वहाँ भी कुछ ना कुछ लूप होल्स रहे. यहाँ भी फार्मेसीज़ में ड्रग्स का शॉर्टेज हो गया, तो लूप होल्स हैं, तो उनको भी झटका लगा है, गवर्नमेंट को भी झटका लगा है, कंट्री को भी. The need for contraceptive services remains high in India, with over 1 in 3 women reporting a need for contraceptive advice, as per the MSI study. Providing uninterrupted abortion and contraceptive counseling, devices and care services are essential to safeguard the reproductive rights of women and protect them from abuse. These services must continue through measures such as telemedicine, incentives to local clinics to open their doors, resolving drug supply chains disruption besides improving access to healthcare. सिर्फ आप healthcare की access को improve करने के बजाय मतलब के अलावा local जो clinics हैं, you can actually give them incentives to keep themselves open. Many local clinics are not keeping them open because they don't know that they know that people are not going to come, so why to sit and waste time? Probably this is the thought process. So we can give them incentives. Telemedicine is another possible alternative. For countries that do not prioritize, मतलब प्राथमिकता, prioritize मतलब प्राथमिकता देना. अगर आप prioritize नहीं कर रहे हो, you're not considering it as your priority, then the women's health care needs, it will bear the heaviest of burdens not so long after. मतलब ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है. अगर आप women की health care को एक प्रायोरिटी नहीं देंगे, एक प्राथमिकता नहीं देंगे, तो देखो इम्पैक्ट और जो बर्डन है वो तो बेयर करना ही पड़ेगा हमें. So this is yet another point that the author wants us to focus on and to deal with. So this is what I wanted you to know for today. The word that I would take the phrase that I would take would be deal a blow, which means to hit, to cause damage or harm. किसी को नुकसान पहुंचाने के लिए जो आप झटका देते हो वो होता है to deal a blow. So this is the phrase that I want you to use in your conversation for today, and I want you to have a focus on this a lot. Okay, so I shall see you soon in the next session. Till then, I want you to focus on the words that we discussed. The list of the words is right there on the site in the study material section. Go look for the list, start practicing, look for the synonyms, antonyms, and the phrases that are possibly associated to these words. Also go through other articles related to the same on the Hindu editorial section. Okay, thank you so much. I shall see you soon. Do not forget to subscribe the channel for regular sessions with us if you have not, and I believe that you've subscribed the channel, and hit the like button to keep us motivated. Thank you so much.